Eerie footage of the devastation wrought by the 2005 London bombings has been shown in public for the first time. The inquest into the deaths of 52 people was shown video of underground trains and a bus, all blown apart by suicide bombers. ABC correspondent Philip Williams.
These pictures of the wreckage have just been released at the inquest 5 years after the bombs devastated 3 trains and a bus. 52 innocent lives were taken, many more injured, some left with horrific and permanent injuries. There were stories of heroism and an emergency response confused by poor communications and misinformation. At Aldgate Station, the driver heard pleas for help from passengers but couldn't raise the alarm. When help did arrive, everyone was ordered to evacuate because of fears of a second bomb. That was ignored. They continued to help as many of the injured as possible. At King's Cross, 26 commuters were killed. This is the carriage next to the one where the bomb exploded. Pictures of that scene were judged to be too harrowing to release. And here at Edgware Road, it was revealed the first ambulance arrived 24 minutes after the bomb ripped through a carriage. They'd been given the wrong address. Above ground, the aftermath of the attack on the number 30 bus at Tavistock Square revealed the terrible force of the explosion. The questions, as yet unanswered, could more lives have been saved if the response had not been delayed and confused? Philip Williams, ABC News, London.
Welcome to Kevin Bennett's Trauma. This show is about helping, building, and empowering people who are going through mental and emotional trauma. From all over the world, we share the same journeys, regardless of if we can speak the same language or different language, different colours, creeds, races, etc. Regardless, we all share traumas. And today, I have such a special guest, someone who I'm so honoured to have here to just share his journey with us. And his journey is a powerful journey, very poignant, but also very inspirational. I want to welcome Garri. Welcome on board, Garri. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing very well, Kevin. Thank you so much for your time, man.
Brilliant.
To be honest, I feel honoured and privileged to actually be on this program with you.
Thank you.
It's wonderful, it's beautiful, and I love what you're doing here and how you're trying to help other people. And if I can, with my testimony that I'm about to give you, be able to help even one person in their life, it'd be a beautiful thing also. So thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you very much. So I want to cast you back to 2005. We had the 7/7 bombing, and unfortunately you was caught up in that bombing. Can you please share your journey with us and your story with us, please?
Wow. That journey is a very emotional journey, and it's a bit of a roller coaster ride. But I will start off by saying I am a trained accountant, and I used to work in an advertising agency. Very few advertising agencies, to be quite honest. But I was working for one of the big ones uptown. And each day...
And sorry, when you say
work,
uptown, in London, yes?
In Holborn.
Holborn, London, yep.
Yeah, in Holborn, London, yeah. And I was, in Holborn, London. And each day when I leave work, I usually leave work and visit my mum. My mum had like a stroke in 2002. So I used to leave work at like 5, 6, 7 o'clock because as accounts, sometimes the figures are not balanced straight away. So you've got to stay behind work to finish off the balance sheets, whatever it may be. After I'd done that, like I said, I'd go and visit my mum at a nursing home. Now, my mum was in a nursing home from 2002 straight up to 2005. So every time I finished work, I'd go and visit my mum, comb out her hair, massage her legs, make sure she's okay every single day. And the weekends I'll spend about an hour, 2 hours with her, make sure she's okay. You only get one mum. And I have this close bond with my mum because I was the youngest one in my family. Not saying my brothers weren't there, because my brothers were there also. So raving for me was out the window. And I spent a lot of time around my mum. On the 6th of July, I remember coming home from work and going to our mum's nursing home. When I went into the nursing home, my mum was asleep, and I have a very playful type of character. So I'd go up to mum and play with her foot and see things like that. But this day, for some strange reason, somebody said to me, leave her at peace. So I left her at peace. But as I was walking back out of the nursing room, something told me to hold on. So I stood at the door and I just watched her. And I looked at the curtains, I looked at the bed, I looked at a little toy that was on her bed that she was cuddling. I looked at her clothing, I looked at flowers that in and around her. And I was there for about a good 5-10 minutes just studying everything. And I kind of like zoomed out, and it was only like, because my mum was on a peg feed, it was only like the machine that went, that kind of snapped me back out of that momentary lapse that I had.
Right.
Anyway, when that happened, I thought, let me just walk over to my mum, and I kissed her on her forehead. I remember brushing her eyebrows and kissing her on her forehead. I said, all right, Mum, I'll see you tomorrow. That was the 6th of July. I was at King's Cross Station on the 7th of July. Packed train. I went down to the Piccadilly line because I had to get a train from King's Cross to Russell Square. So the first trains come and it was packed, and being 6 foot like I am, I thought I'm not going to squeeze into there because I don't want to be in a horrible kind of position, so to speak.
And so what time was it about roughly?
This was about 8:10, 8:15 in the morning.
Right.
Early hours of the morning.
Okay.
Then the second trains come, and I put myself in a position on the platform that when the second train comes and the door opens, I'll be one of the first ones to get on because I need to get to work.
So I just want to kind of get an understanding. How much people was it? Really ram-packed? Was it like morning rush hour?
It was morning rush hour.
Right.
It was like sardines in a tin.
Mm-hmm.
It was packed, proper packed. It was heaving. And you got to take on board on that day as well. It was a hot summer's day as well, so it was very hot downstairs and stuffy, and it was yeah.
And so what month was this? So your microphone, I believe, because you've got your earpiece in, I think the microphone is knocking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me go and sort that out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I see what he's knocking onto as well. Sorry.
No problem.
Okay. Yeah, this was June.
Okay,
December,
so this
July.
was June, right? And so we're talking 7th of July. So we're talking middle of summer, morning rush hour, roasting hot. It's even hotter. It's magnified underground than it is overground.
100%.
Yeah. Okay.
And you've got to take on board a lot of people are rushing around trying to get to work as well. There's a lot of rushing around, and that builds up heat within the body as well. So it's very, very hot underground. So the second train's come now, and I'm like, well, I need to get to work. And I had my sports bag with me. So as I was about to board the train, a woman's jumped in front of me in the little spot I was going to go into. So I just packed her on her back and said, babe, have a nice day. Train closed, and I thought, all right, the third train's come, I've got to get onto it. So the third train's come now. It had a lot more space in it. I managed to get onto there. I held onto the pole in front of me, and there's commuters sitting behind me and commuters sitting in front of me. And I was standing up, holding the pole in front of me. The train must have, then it got packed. Something just said to me, step backwards. And just to add a little bit more background to it, it was the day after we'd won the bid for the Olympic Games.
Right.
So there was a hype in the train as well. Yes, we've just won the games, and so while I put my hands up onto the bar in front of me, I was kind of like viewing the newspapers as well. So I was kind of looking at other people's newspapers by doing little movements like that. And because I'm kind of like into fashion as well, I'm looking at people's shoes and trainers and little things. That's just how I am. So in like 30 seconds, it went from a bright scene, summery scene, well, bright scene, so to speak, into like a rave scene, which pitch black. And all you can see is spotlights flickering and smoke all over the place.
Wow. So what was it, a bang, or it just lights just went out?
So I was standing next to the suicide bomber, and it was a deadly explosion that happened right next to me. And what had happened, it blew out both my eardrums. Even before I could blink, I felt my body, I felt a blast within my body. And when I surfaced, I found myself on the floor, trapped deep underground amongst train wreckage, body parts. It was a scene straight out of a disaster movie. It was absolutely horrid. I don't often tell people these things because I don't want to leave people with horrible thoughts in their head, but there's things that I'd see there that I wouldn't repeat. There was moments where I was kind of like sliding across the floor, trying to get some type of comfort because I was feeling anxious, and I was moving around in blood all around me, type of thing. I'm moving.
What did you hear at that time? What did you hear and what did you smell? Or...
Well, what it was, my hearing wasn't great because I was standing next to the bomber. The bomber was literally 1 foot away from me, and 26 people, which is half of the people in the London bombing, died around me.
Wow.
Yeah. So I didn't really hear nothing until I heard the first bang. I saw a massive flash in front of me. And then I can remember I was saying to myself, I've got to stay focused. I've got to stay focused because my head had hit the pole in front of me. And I remember, like I said to you before, it was a packed train. When my head hit that pole in front of me and I'm saying to myself, I've got to stay focused, I've got to stay focused. And I looked around me, there's nobody standing up.
Wow.
Nobody at all. And I'm like, I've got to stay focused, I've got to stay focused. And all I can remember, it was a packed train, so where's everybody gone? What I got to find out later is that I had an out-of-body experience. My body was already on the floor. It's my spirit that was actually standing up saying, got to stay focused, got to stay focused. And what made me understand that is because a woman had shouted out from a distance. In fact, let me rewind a little bit. So imagine now that I'm waking up on the floor and I'm trying to stay focused in this pitch black. I'm disorientated. I'm feeling completely alone until someone screams from a distance, I've lost my legs, I've lost my legs. And I was like, wow, someone's lost their legs. But that made me look at my leg. And what I had done, bear with me a split second. I pulled up my leg, which I think I can show you. Yeah, I pulled up my leg. This is my artificial leg, but I pulled up my leg and you can't see it. I pulled it up at a mad angle.
Let me see if I can get it over to you. One second. Give me a second, please. Okay. Yep, we got it over to you.
Here we are. Brilliant. Yeah. So what I'd done, I'd lifted up my leg, and where my leg is straight like that.
Yeah.
I've got to go back here. Yeah, that's better. Like that. Yeah. I pulled my leg in that direction.
Wow.
And I was like, what did I just do there? But then what I done there, Kev, I scratched the bottom of my foot. And I still had feelings. So I thought, it's not as bad as I think it is. So then I shouted back to the woman, don't worry, love. I've lost part of my leg, but we're going to get out. The rest I can say is actual history, as they say. I was the last person to come out of that train. There was only 5 people left on the train when I was on there. I was the last survivor to come out. I got to find out when I went to the inquest that I was underground for 2 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. I was underground for 2 hours.
So just let's just go back just a little, please.
That's all right.
It's just wow. Did you? Bit of an investigation here. Did you see the bomber before? Did you recognize him? Did you look at him? Did you kind of acknowledge his existence before?
Nah.
It went off, or he just didn't exist to you?
He didn't appeal to me at all. I just went on there, like I said, I'm looking at the back of a newspaper. We just won the Olympics. Everyone's in a high vibe. You know what I'm saying? Everyone's spirits are high. Everyone's laughing and joking with each other. Even when just before, they told me this when I went to the inquest, because I didn't remember it straight away. They were saying that somebody when there was on the train said to the commuters, because everyone was saying, can you go in? Because we need to get onto the train. And I shouted out, what do you want us to do? Get on the roof. And everyone started laughing. That came out in the inquest, because I completely forgot about that. That's how packed it was. And that's how everyone was jolly in that festive, that funny kind of mode type of thing. Because everyone laughed at when I said that. That was... Looking back, it's a miracle, to say the least, that I've kind of come back the way I have. Because sometimes when I look back at it, I'm shocked at what I've actually gone through.
Yeah. Wow. So in that moment, you're there. Was you in pain? Did you feel pain, or was you in too much shock? Or
I think the adrenaline had kicked in, kind of thing. The only thing I think I was very, very agitated, and I had a chain around my neck, and on the bottom of the chain was my mum's ring. So I kept on holding onto the ring from time to time. I'm like, you know what? And I'm gonna be honest with you, Kevin. I said to myself many a times under there, I can't die under here, you know, because I actually felt myself going.
Wow.
You understand? There was a girl, her name's Alison McCarthy. Never forget the name. I call her my angel. And I said to her, look, she was one of the survivors down there. I said to her, look, anytime I say, I feel like I'm falling asleep, slap me, because I can't afford to fall asleep, because I'll lose consciousness. And I told her 3 times, and 3 times she slapped me to wake me back up again. Yeah. And there'll be times, like I said to you, I'll be on the floor because I'm agitated and I want to get up on the seats, but the seats now are turned upside down. There are no seats. Yeah. So I've got to slide through all this debris, train wreckage, body parts and all that just to try and find some comfort. I managed to crawl through all of that. At the same time, I was subconsciously attending to people that are there saying, you're going to be all right, we're going to make it. Whether that's the last word they heard from me, I don't know. But I was doing that for my benefit as well as their benefit. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was saying, we're going to make it, don't worry, we're going to get out, we're going to get out. I was helping to push people up on their seat, because some of them are flat on their back, and I was helping to lift them up so they can sit down properly. So I was kind of doing a little bit, I was trying to help as much as I can. And I managed to get up on one of the seats, but when I got up onto the seats, it was like the whole chair was full of diamonds, where the glass of the train had completely shattered and it was on the chairs. It looked like diamonds all over it. I managed to move that away and sit on it. And I was on there for about, I don't know, for about 10, maybe 15 minutes. And I can feel my anxiety kicking back again. And I wanted to go back to the floor again. So I kept on doing that. But I think part of that was my survival tactics.
Right. And so, was it dark in there at that time? Did the lights go out, or was the lights still on?
It was pitch black. If you put your hands in front of you, you couldn't see it. The only thing that was making us see things was from time to time, you might see a flicker from where the electricity is. For example, a bulb has been smashed out, but you still got the connection, and it just flickers from time to time. That's the only thing that's the only way we can actually recognize or see people moving around the carriage.
Wow.
There was at one point, I remember laying down on a chair, and I can feel some guy running towards me out of his head, but he was running from chair to chair, not even on the floor, on the chairs. He was running from chair to chair. He's getting closer and closer and closer to me, and I can just feel myself going to, I'm not going to swear, but I said, mate, stop, what the and he stopped right over me.
Yeah,
if he'd have come any closer, he might have gone through my leg.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's only when I was in hospital I understand those things, because I lost my shin on my left leg immediately, and I knew that. But on my right leg, I had shrapnel in it, and the shrapnel was sticking out of it. So the guy could have run along and stepped straight in the shrapnel, which would have made me lose my other leg.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the people that was around you, did you remember their faces beforehand and kind of like worked out who they were, in sequence?
To be honest with you, I can't. It was just, everything seemed to be a blur, because even when the explosion happened, how can I put it? I just saw a flash in front of me. I thought it might be a power surge. I didn't believe it was a bomb. But then, like I said to you, when my head hits the pole, and then I've gone back to the floor and I've checked my leg, I'm thinking, my leg wouldn't be like this if it was a power surge. Then I knew something serious was happening. But at that point, I still didn't think it was a bomb.
It's funny. I'm writing a book at the moment, and in this book it talks about one of my traumas. And I said in my chapter that talks about me, it's funny how you can have a long conversation with yourself in the moment of a traumatic situation. You can have, it feels like an hour you're having a conversation, and in hindsight, you know, and in reality, it's probably about 5 to 10 seconds at times.
Yeah.
Was it that scenario where you're having a long conversation with yourself, but
Do you know?
It's really just like probably about 30 seconds each time, but it's probably in the best part of, like, it feels like an hour when you're talking to yourself. Was
But
it
you
that
know what,
kind of
for
scenario?
me, no, mine was the opposite.
Right.
For me, time went quick. So when they were saying I was underground for 2 hours, I was like, what are you talking about? I thought I was only underground for half an hour. So in that time span, I must have gone unconscious a couple of times and didn't even realize it.
Right. Okay.
Because
So
2 hours underground and my main arteries are bleeding.
and that's the thing, you know. So you're bleeding out. Was it heavy?
Yeah, my main artery.
Wow.
I had when I even went to the hospital, like, I had plasters all over me. I even had a massive plaster on my neck. And I was thinking, whoa, what's that about? I had it all over me, tubes from all over the place. I had blood transfusions, loads of blood transfusion. I died underground, I was told. I died on the operating table. Yeah, that's it, twice.
Wow. Did you, you know, people talk about, so would you say the moment when you died underground, is that the out-of-body experience you believe you had in that moment, looking down, observing all what's going on around you?
100%. But I could get deep, but I don't want to get too deep. I do honestly believe that I had died, and that my future self came to help me.
Wow. And can you explain that, please? I think that's such a powerful statement you just made.
Because what I'm saying is, I believe that we have a higher self of our being, and my higher self, that my future Garri, knew what was going to happen beforehand, obviously, because he's my future Garri, and he came down there to help me. So I feel like what he done was it kind of protected my body from the blast. Then my body's ended on the floor, and he stood up there holding on to pole, saying, you got to stay focused, you got to stay focused.
Wow.
Because I've been told as well that I might be a walk-in, which means my soul, my old soul, is no longer there. I've got a new soul, or I've got a new spirit. Something like that someone said to me once.
I've never heard that before, but that sounds powerful.
Yeah, I'm a walk-in. So
Wow.
the old Garri died somewhere along the line, and a new Garri came in.
So moving forward, just under 2 hours, when did you know help was on its way?
I didn't actually. I just thought, we're in England. I'll be honest, yeah. I think we're in England. They have an emergency service. They must know we're down here. They must come. And when someone eventually came down, which again, like I say, 2 hours later, I saw a flashlight from a distance, and I'm like, oh my gosh, at long last, the flashlights come. So they've come in and they're looking around, and they're looking, checking out each person that's still there, and they're giving them priority numbers, priority 1, priority 2, and things like that, and they're walking through.
Wow.
And that's, yeah.
And so do you know how they kind of done the priority numbers? Did you kind of like later on find out, okay, priority 1 means critical, we need to get them out now, and the others scratched and burnt or whatever it may be? Is that how the priority system was working?
Yeah, 100%, that's what it was. And myself and the woman that lost both her legs, we was priority 1.
Right.
But although we was priority
you're
1,
bleeding via the main arteries for a start, so that's definitely a priority, right?
But what happened was, Kevin, the woman that was lost both legs, she was priority 1, and it was going through the carriages. And what it is, remember I was telling you about the debris on the floor and the body parts and everything like that.
Wow.
They can't come into the carriage with stretcher and move anybody yet, because they need to clear the carriage floor.
Oh.
Debris, body parts, everything's on the floor, in it. So they've got all those things have got to be moved out of the way first before they can carry the body, because they could slip, couldn't they? Anything could happen.
Wow.
So they came in, they were doing all that search and everything like that, because when I first saw the light, it must have took them, and they must be about 20 foot from me. But it took them about 20 minutes before they got to me. I was thinking, what's taking them so long? And they eventually got to me, but when they got to me, they walked straight past me. They went, oh, he's all right, and they walked straight past me, and they carried on down the carriage, done what they'd done down the carriage. Then another 20 minutes later, they come back now, and I'm like, hello, I've got a problem here. And they looked at me and went, oh, he's lost his leg. Now, when I saw the guy that walked past me originally and I called him back, I saw him at one of the anniversaries, and he said, what the problem was, Garri, when we walked past you, you looked like you were so calm, we thought you was all right, that's why we walked past you.
Oh, wow.
That's why they left me. But I was saying to him, I'm glad I actually told you that my leg had a problem for you to give me that priority 1 rating. And then they took me out when they could take me out.
So in that moment, was there I know your eardrums were a bit perforated at the time, etc. But did you kind of pick up on screams and groans and cries for help?
No, I didn't. The main thing that I could take in that day was smells. Burning skin, burning plastic, cloth material burning. It's a lot of burning I could smell, and with thick black smog as well. And there was many a times when I was underground and I would just brush my hair, and where I'd brush my hair, there'd be so much soot just falling onto me. I was like covered. I'd do that, and all soot would just fall on my lap and everything. I was covered in it.
It's funny that you say that. When the Grenfell Tower disaster happened, the Brits and Soup Kitchen and we went down there, and just literally when it's happened, we went down there to help out, to feed people. We had donations, we had clothing, we had food, we had so much. We had a whole van full. And when we was on our way to the tower, I never forget this. We was probably about 1 block away, and the smell of burning flesh, and also the cars were covered, which I then found out later, in part burning flesh and hair and so on and so forth. And you'll just never forget that smell.
Yeah.
And is it the same case for you? It's the smell. It's a very pungent smell that you
100%.
just can't forget.
And if I smell that, it triggers me to go back. Whether I like it or not, I get triggered back.
So it's like a PTSD.
Yeah, 100%. I was told I've got severe post-traumatic stress disorder.
Right. Wow.
Not just stress disorder, severe post-traumatic stress disorder.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So we're definitely going to get to that. And so they tag you as priority 1, and what happened next? So 20 minutes later, he comes back and he realizes you are actually a priority. You are bleeding from obviously extremities, etc.
And then they put me onto a stretcher. I think what they might have done as well, I think they might have injected me. Right. I'm not 100% sure.
Right. Like a painkiller or something.
Yeah, a painkiller or something to kind of numb the pain or kind of make me pass out for a little while. until I get to the hospital, because all I do remember is waking up in the hospital. And I remember waking up into the hospital and saying to the doctor, I know I lost my shin, but can you save my leg, or some words to that effect? And he goes, he can't. If he does that, then my life will be at stake. And I said, well, if my life's at stake, you've got to take my leg, you've got to take my leg.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was your self-conversation in that moment? Because, you know, when you're fully able-bodied, the last thing you want ever is to lose any part of it. What was your was you still optimistic in that moment, or was you just grateful that you was alive? What was your self-conversation?
I think more than anything, because of the injury that I had, and I kind of sense, I didn't know 100% what was happening, but I kind of sensed that something really terrible would happen. I was just grateful to be alive. And the biggest thing that was on my head at that moment, and I don't think I even know, that's what spurred me and kept me balanced and not so stressed out, was I was thinking about my mum.
Wow.
My mind was constantly in my mum, like, I've got to get out of here to help my mum. I've got to get out of here to stay strong for my mum. My mum needs me. There's a saying in the Caribbean where they say, once a man, twice a child. Now, I never understood that when I was younger. It's only when I got older, my mum had a stroke, I realised my mum needed me. She was now like a baby. Once she was a baby, and now she's a baby again, because she needs my attention, she needs my help, as well as my brothers, but she needs us. So my main thought was, I have to get out of this makeshift coffin that I'm in, to go out and help my mum by hook or by crook. No pun intended, but by hook or by crook.
I understand, yeah.
You know, and that was what was keeping me going. I wasn't even focused on my leg or anything like that. The fact that I was out in hospital, I'm thinking, I'm with the medical team now. They have to do what they want to do, you know.
Wow. So how long was you in the hospital for?
I was in hospital for 3 months.
3
July,
months.
August, September. Oh, yeah, 3 months.
Right. And in that time, I would imagine people's definitely going to be asking these questions. In that time, you know, what was we're aware of the traumatic event. What was the trauma at that time? And did you have the help? Did you have counselors and therapists and psychologists, and did you have those people coming to you at that time?
No.
You didn't have no one?
No.
Wow.
All I remember back at that time was I was in my own ward, and I got to find out the reason. Obviously, I was in the emergency ward to begin with downstairs, and then they moved me into my own ward, and I got to find out just before I left the hospital that I contracted C. diff in hospital, hence the reason why I was in my own ward.
So what is C. diff for those who don't know, please?
C. diff is like what do they call it? It slipped me.
Let me see.
It's like MRSA.
Right. Okay. So it's like a bug.
It's a bug. Yeah.
Yeah. And is it
one
of?
Pick up in hospital?
Okay.
Yeah. But I contracted that when I was in hospital. I mean, and when I was in that little room by myself, they said that I had some type of bug, but I always thought I had the bug when I was underground. Anyway.
Okay. So C. diff is a bacteria that can infect the bowels, etc.
Yeah.
That can cause diarrhea, infections, and common effects people have recently is treated with antibiotics. Okay, right. So it's like a bacterial infection.
Yeah. And see, even if you say that, yeah, you just gave me a flashback, because even when I'm talking honestly, even when I was in hospital, I couldn't go to the toilet.
Right.
At all. I was in pain to go to the toilet. And that's what I think I might have contracted all this stuff, but it was a horrible experience in that sense. And another thing as well, when I was in the hospital, I remember they were saying this person's coming in, we've got to make sure they're comfortable, give them a soft mattress, blah, blah, blah. Now, in my house, before the accident, I used to sleep on an orthopedic mattress, which is more of a solid mattress.
Right.
When I got to the hospital, they gave me a mattress that's like airy, that you sink into.
Right.
So for the first 2 or 3 weeks, I was in agony, because my back was in a horrible shape. I explained that to the doctors and nurses. They ended up giving me a new mattress. What had happened, I was getting in there regularly, was massages. So they'd come around to give me a massage, make sure I was okay. I had a friend of mine, and this is I think where it started from as well, who had come there with a NutriBullet, some nuts, spirulina, and various things like that, mixed it up, and he gave it to me. I thought, this is great. And then I started taking a lot of those juices, and I remember one of the doctors said to me, if we had patients like you, there would be no hospitals, because I was healing fast. I was healing fast. Seriously, I was healing fast.
Yeah.
But there was a point where, while I was in hospital, I don't know if I can still show you this. Yeah, while I was in hospital, because the last time something like this had happened was in one of the world wars, I think World War II or something like that, where people have lost limbs. Yeah, they didn't have to treat the victims of the bombing. So I remember, or should I say survivors of the bombing. So I remember when a doctor said to me that my next operation is going to be through my knee or above my knee.
Wow. Wow.
Signed the consent form, and he walked out. I'm in there, hands up. I'm not afraid to talk, you know. I was in tears.
I could imagine.
I was shivering in tears.
I could imagine.
And there
so,
was a guy there.
So when you say you're shivering in tears, what emotions were you experiencing at that time?
Isolation, depression, loneliness. I was at a low ebb at that point. And then there was a guy, nurse though, and he put his head round the corner, because I've got this happy-go-lucky type of character. Me and him clicked when I was in hospital. So he's going, all right, Garri, how are you, mate? I'm like, I'm all right, you know. He goes, you don't sound all right. I goes, look, I've got to sign this document for the doctors to either go through my knee or above my knee. Now, I know a little bit about people that's lost limbs, and I know that if they go above your knee, you're in trouble. In the sense of you're walking, you ain't got a knee now, have you? If they go through your knee, you're in trouble. The best thing to do is to keep your knee. So I was hesitant about that. And like I said, the nurse guy goes to me, Garri, remember, you're in control, you know. If you don't want to sign it, don't sign it. And that snaps me out of it. I thought, you know what, he's right, you know, so I didn't sign it. So he goes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get you an iodine pad. So he got me this big iodine pad and put it around my leg. And I swear, Kevin, it went from a brown, the flesh of my leg went from a dark brown, like a dying color, to a bright red.
Wow.
Yeah, within a week.
Wow.
They done a skin graft, yeah, and they took the skin off my thigh and put it around my stump, because some of the skin had come off. And they done it at like 7, 8 o'clock in the evening. And because they had to come and check it the following day. So by 8 o'clock the following morning, the nurse came in, took off the bandage and started looking at it. And she was like, hold on a second, I've got to go and call the doctor. I was thinking, what's she going to call the doctor for? So she come up, the doctor come up, and the doctor's checking it. And the doctor said, I can't believe you're healing already. Because that's supposed to heal within 5 days. I was healing within a day. So it's those little things that kind of lifted my spirit now.
Yeah. So you was kind of clinging on for hope, just small, small sparkles of hope in order to just inspire you to keep pushing.
100%.
And also, from what I understand you're saying as well, your motivating factor was that you need to get back to serve mother.
Yep, 100%. That was motivation. And those little sparks, like I'm telling you about, I saw an old woman. She must have been about 60, 70, I don't know. But I saw her with 2 prosthetic legs walking. I was thinking, if that woman's got 2 prosthetic legs and can walk like that, I must be able to walk with a prosthetic leg. Another thing that inspired me, you know, and another
so
thing
that's
that's always
what
been,
you're saying is really powerful, because I guess from what I'm understanding, you're saying you were just looking around and you was finding inspiration in the most small places, but they were very impactful. So just even small things like little comments like, you know, you don't sound as, you know, your normally bubbly self. Are you okay? Is there anything that, you know, I can do to help? Which that pretty much what the doctor was saying, or what was he saying? He was a nurse, or
nurse. He was a nurse.
it was a nurse, yeah, and
Yeah.
giving you the fact that you are still in control of your destiny as well. That made you feel empowered, and
100%.
looking around and seeing that people, you had obviously a tragic scenario and situation with your leg, but you saw someone that were worse off with two legs amputated, right? That they had and still managed to be walking. And so those things as well was inspiring you, that, you know what, my world is dark right now, my world is lonely, my world is depressed, however there's still a light, and that's what you held on to in order for you to keep pushing, and in order for you to keep powerful within yourself. Is that would you say that's correct?
I would say that's correct. And I mean, in that as well, I was trying to inspire other victims of the bombing that was in my hospital, and at the same time I was doing that, keeping my spirits going. So I'd jump in my wheelchair, for example, and I'll wheel around the ward and find out where a survivor is. And I'm saying, yeah, don't worry, I'm in here. We're going to be okay. Stay strong. I'm just around the corner if you need any help. And then I'll wheel to someone else. So I'll be
that's
wheeling
really
around.
powerful. Let's stick on that just a moment, because that's really powerful. So how many, okay, let's put this into two. How many people were injured? How many people died? And how many people was in the hospital in your ward? Do you know the numbers?
Okay, I can give you. There was 52 people that died all in all.
Right.
26 of them died around me in my train, in my carriage.
Okay.
Altogether, I understand that there's about 700 people that was affected.
Okay, and so let's just be clear. With the 7/7 bombing, it wasn't just on the tube; it was a bus as well, right?
Yeah.
And so it was orchestrated in sequence, and so it happened on the tube, it happened on the bus. Was there other locations?
There's three tube bombings and 1 bus bomb.
Right. Okay. And also, just going back a bit, I know we're going back and forth, but it's just so powerful. I noticed that you stated that you missed one tube and you missed another tube. Do you believe there's a message in that, or is that did that connect with you in any way? Because
of course it does.
You was very, very clear about the fact that you missed the other tubes in order to get on this particular one.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you in 2 parts. Part number 1, do you believe it was your destiny to come through to be where you are now, or do you believe? How do you look at it?
I believe it's my destiny to be where I am right now.
Right.
And I'm going to be honest with you, Kevin. When I was going through it, on that journey to where I am right now, there's little things that used to irritate me or rub me up the wrong way. And basically what that was about was my perception. My perception was wrong. Yeah.
And when you say your perception,
my outlook on how I'm looking at things, I mustn't take everything personal.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying to you? I've got to start taking things with a pinch of salt. And I think when I changed my mindset, my whole world changed.
Wow, please explain that, because someone right now that's watching this, they are in a dark place, and they probably, their mind, there's a saying, what I say, where your focus goes, your energy flows.
Right.
And so someone right now is in a dark place and they're probably thinking, I can't get out of this. This is my direction. This is my future, and I give up. What was your focus? What was your self-conversation that made you turn that around? Because at one point you was going through depression, loneliness, and I would imagine doubt, worry, etc. What did you change?
Well, another thing is I've been doing like a metaphysics course for the past 10 years or so now, and it's about inner development, spiritual development, inner development. And the part of the course is about taking responsibility and accountability for your actions, and knowing that the energy you put out in the world is the energy just coming back at you, right? And like you've just said there about your focus goals where your energy flows,
yeah,
right? So my thing was, as an example, my thing was, if anyone ever spoke to me about the media, my back would go up. Bloody media, and I've been like that for a while. Why am I allowing myself to create all that negative energy about the media, and at the end of the day, all they're doing is writing a story? That's their job. So because I'm like, I was taking it personal. Why this? Why that? Blah blah blah. They should. When I started thinking, hold on a second, it's their job. It's only a story. Don't take it personal. My whole life changed.
Wow.
I didn't have that anger in me anymore. The anger was gone. I let it go.
Wow.
And it's finding those triggers within you and being able to find a solution for those triggers. But the most important is finding those triggers. And my thing was self-searching and finding those triggers.
And so how do you find, well, I want to go back to the ward just shortly, but I've got to ask you this. How do you find the triggers in order to change the story of those triggers from it being a negative conversation, self-conversation, to turn it around to being a positive self-conversation? How do you do it? How did you do it on your journey? And how did you discover the triggers?
Right. So first and foremost, I believe that negativity breeds negativity, and positivity breeds positivity. That's one of my mantras. And I'm a type of guy that's always positive. I push out a lot of positive energy and I try to remain positive. So my thing was, if there's anything negative in my life that's giving a resistance, causing me to have a resistance, I need to get that out, because I'm not being authentic to myself. I need to find my true authentic self. So for me to find that, I have to let go of those things that trigger me. So then, like I'm saying, is having that deep talk within yourself and understand, be truthful to yourself, you know, and find out what you don't like, what winds you up, and then go back on it and try and find a solution for it.
Brilliant.
And like I was saying to you about the media, I found out that was winding me up, thinking, why is that winding me up? And then my solution was, you know what, let it go. And a lot of these things that I've been going through, that has been my go-to thing. Let it go. Does it matter? If it doesn't matter, let it go.
I like that. Let it go. That's a brilliant. I like that. And that should be someone's core values. Let it go.
Yeah, let it go.
So many of us carry that around with us. We carry the weight of what we can let go. It's like self-harming in a sense.
100%. 100%. And when you go into self-harming, self-talk's very important as well.
Yeah.
Do you know? I don't. There is occasion you might say, I'm an idiot, you know? Even little words like that, because you know what? You don't understand this. Words are very powerful because they're spells.
Yeah, you're spelling it. Yeah, you're definitely spelling into existence. It is a spell.
You understand me?
Yeah.
So it's understanding little things like that within myself to think, okay, my speech has got to change now. You know, and I pulled myself away from, I have, when I went through what I was going through, that's another thing is, I had a lot of so-called friends and followers jumping on the bandwagon. When the so-called, sorry to use this terminology, shit hit the fan with me, I found out who my real friends were. Yeah, which was a beautiful thing. At the time, I didn't think it was beautiful, but later on, I get to find it was beautiful, because what it done for me was it made me realize that if I find myself falling, I've got great and beautiful people around me to lift me back up again, and it's genuine. It's coming from a genuine place.
Wow, I understand.
Yeah, and not being in competition with people around you. Do you know what I'm saying to you? I didn't have no competition. People was genuinely there for me being me.
And so question, and with that point said, because you just said something once again really powerful, and I want to go back. You were doing something that I don't want people to miss. I think is so powerful, and it shows a lot about your character. You could have felt sorry for yourself, you could have given up, but you was on the ward going around keeping people positive and inspiring people and giving people hope. I think the key word is probably hope more than the rest. So you're on the ward and you're in a wheelchair, you said.
Yeah.
And you're going from the bed to bed, or is it kind of like cubicle to cubicle, or is it private?
Yeah, cubicle to cubicle. Yeah, cubicle to cubicle.
And what was, you know, obviously I don't want to dig too deep into it if you don't want to share, understandable. What was kind of the conversations you were having with the other passengers? Was it kind of like very recollective, or was it more just kind of like very surface, or was it more of a therapeutic type of counseling session of what happened? Do you know? What kind of conversations were you having?
I kind of kept it on the surface, but in keeping it on the surface was a little bit therapeutical as well.
Right.
You know, don't worry, we're in this together. You know, we're all going to get out of this. You're going to be okay. You know, someone already just left the hospital, that was caught up in the bombing. They're okay. You're going to be okay. Have faith. It's going to be okay. It wasn't. I didn't say don't take it personal, but I'm saying we're going to get out of this and we're going to be okay. So it's kind of lifting their spirits.
Did it help? What kind of people did you get? Some people saying, well, speak for yourself.
No.
Or was everyone kind of like coming together within that community unity kind of thing in order to
They were definitely coming together, because what happened as well in that time that I was in hospital, after about a week, even before a week, yeah, but within that week now, I was unconscious for 5 days. Yeah, I was unconscious for 5 days. So that was the first week out. The second week, so it had been the second week. The second week, the media was all over the place, and they was asking me questions like, "The Muslims blew up the train, and how do you feel about Muslims?" and blah blah blah. And I'm like, "Yeah." And my first response was, "I forgive him." They was like, "What do you mean you forgive him?" I said, "Well, I forgive him, innit?" I said, like I said to you earlier on, Kevin, negativity breeds negativity and positivity breeds positivity. And I want to remain positive. So they wrote that story. When they wrote that story, it reverberated around the world. I've got letters from China, America, Germany, Italy, all over the world. Loads of letters from England. I've got boxes and boxes and boxes. I've even got letters now that I've not even opened.
Wow. And
they're all along the same line. Garri, you're an inspiration. Thank you for your positive, uplifting words. And because of that, and the BBC, it was the BBC that was following me at the time, people within the ward watching TV would have seen me. So I was kind of like the focal point, so to speak.
Right. I understand. Wow, really, really powerful. And so let's just move forward just a bit. Now, is the dateline correct? So 3 months later, What month are we in? 3 months later. So it happened in July, right?
September, October, yeah.
So,
September.
So September, you're released from hospital. Yeah. Okay. And so yeah.
No, go on.
Oh, so now, well, just before you leave from hospital, at this point, your head is your leg healed enough in order for you to have.
Yes. So what happened was, while I was in hospital, the first 2 months have gone past, and the second month I was doing some rehabilitation in the rehabilitation rooms downstairs, sit-ups and things like that. And they gave me a thing called a PAM aid, which is kind of like a scaffolding around your leg, the leg that was missing, kind of thing. And learning how to walk in the hospital. Once I built up enough strength to walk in the hospital, they then made an appointment to go to Roehampton for them to cast the leg for me. Right. I got my first casting leg before I left hospital, so that when I left I could leave in crutches, but I'm still walking on a prosthetic leg.
So we're talking August, early September.
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. And so you go home, and what was it like the first day home?
Oh, mate, wow. When I went home, it was like you could drop a pin in the house and it just echoes through the whole house. You can, I'm not being funny when I say this, but you can actually, I won't say smell death, but it was eerie. When I went back to my house, it was eerie. My first thing I done when I went back to my house was, no, actually, I didn't have my prosthetic leg yet. I remember going into the house, and when I went into the house, it was very eerie, like I'm saying. The doctor team brought me in, occupational therapy brought me in, checked out the house, make sure everything was all right. When they was gone, I kind of went into the bedroom and I took my leg with the stump on that I've lost and I put it onto the bed. And I looked at it and I thought, it looks like I put my foot straight through the bed. That was my thought in my head. And then I sat on the bed and I just started reciting Psalms 23.
Wow.
Psalms 23. It just echoed throughout the house.
I'm sorry, so what is Psalms 23? What does it mean to you?
It's a deep one, man. For me, it means that I've always got someone by my side that's going to guide and help me. Even though I've gone through all this heartache and misery and madness, there's always going to be someone by me. So keep the faith.
Wow.
That's what that kind of gave me. And it kind of resonates with my story and what I was going through at that time. You know, even though you walk through the valley of shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me, thy rod, thy staff, they comfort me. Thou will prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemy. All those little things reminded me of what I'd gone through, and it was really a powerful psalm for me.
Yeah, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He restores my soul. He guides me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, and the shadow of death in that moment of the tube, it's really poignant, right? It's like it's talking to you directly. I will fear no evil. Once again, no evil moment, again. For you are with me. You're my rod and my staff. They comfort me. Wow. Yeah. And so I understand.
Even if you're saying that, you know, Kevin, as you're saying that, I'm getting goose pimples and I'm getting emotional, because that really does resonate with me. Powerful, man, really. And even when I was saying them out, I remember even now, it's echoing through. I can feel my emotions.
Wow, powerful. And so, okay, so 3 months in, are you getting any form of therapy, counseling, or?
Nope. No. I'll tell you something as well. So hold that thought. 3 months in. when I was in the hospital, because a lot of the therapy I was supposed to get, I gave it to myself. So while I was in hospital, I was downstairs and I was checking out my earring. And so I was sitting there waiting, and I saw an Asian man pass me with his wife, but they had the full Asian gear on, so to speak, and the sari and everything like that.
Yeah.
And I'm an outgoing person, so I said to the guy, "Excuse me, can I have a quick word with you?" He says, "Come over." And I'm saying, "Bro, I've just been blown up by suicide bombers, you know, and they're talking about the Quran and infidels, and you know what I mean." The guy's gone to me, "Bruv, let me tell you something. Proper Muslims ain't blowing up a place like that." And this geezer started talking to me on a level, and I was just there saying, "Bruv, yeah." So me and him started reasoning hard. You see, when he finished with me now, and I went to see the hearing aid people, then I went upstairs. The negative energy the media wanted to throw towards Muslims and everything like that completely disappeared from me because of me speaking to this guy. And that started making me go through that healing process within myself. Because again, the geezer's gone to trains, blew up a train. He didn't go on a train to blow me up. So I can't take it personal. I was just unfortunate to be there at that time.
Do you know what you're saying over and over again, and it's popping up? People are turning up like angels, giving you gems to get you to the next stage. So it's like, what it sounds like to me, from the nurse to the gentleman who popped up at that time, to different people. When
to
you
the girl
were
underground slapping me.
the lady that was slapping you. Every time you had a question to ask, there was someone there to give you an answer to propel you to the next stage of your journey and your healing.
Yeah.
And I think
I 100% believe that, and that's part of the reason why I kind of wrote the book, because there are so many bits and pieces as a jigsaw puzzle for me that I couldn't understand. It's only when I started putting things together now it made sense to me.
Wow. And so you wrote a book.
Yeah.
What's the name of the book? It's
called Surviving 7/7 London Bombing and Beyond.
Wow. Surviving 7/7 Bombing and Beyond. And is it a book that people can purchase at this precise time?
Oh yeah, you can definitely purchase it. I've got links on my website, also on my Instagram page and my Facebook page.
Can you just give us the Instagram website and Facebook page, please, the name of it?
The Facebook page would be Garri, spelled Garri, Holness, HOLNESS. And the Instagram page, I'm going into it now, would be Garri, spelled GARRI _Ness, NESS _369.
Brilliant. And what's the website, please?
And the website is www.onefoot.in.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. And so just going on, we're going to be wrapping up shortly, but your journey is so powerful. I feel like we need to do this in parts. It's so much. It's so powerful. So have you had therapy in that time, in all these years? Did you manage to get some form of therapy or counseling or?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you now. I did eventually get counseling. And what that was about was I was talking to a woman friend of mine's who I've known for a very long time. And she said to me, "Garri, that spark that you've got in your eyes has disappeared. You're not the same person." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She goes, "You're not the same person. You need to go and seek help." So I thought, you know what? I'm going to go and seek help. And we need another time to do this, Kevin, but we need, as men, we tend not to go for mental health. especially coming from the ends or the ghetto, so to speak. We have this bravado within ourselves. I ain't going to see no man, I'm all right. When we shouldn't be doing that. That if you know you have a problem within yourself, it's a good thing to actually go and seek that help. It's not weak, it's strength. So I went and saw the doctor at the Maudsley Hospital. And the funny thing was, the first session that we had, he was talking about taking me underground to kind of relive the situation. Now, I saw the doctor in, I think it might have been about March or April time. I think it might have been about 2008 or 2009. This is like 3 years after the bombing. Yeah. But I remember in 2006, I went underground in January by myself.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you next.
Yeah.
And so, how long after did you go underground? And did you, the first time you went underground, did you do it as a therapy session, or you never got underground?
I've done it off. This is what I'm saying to you again. I strongly believe, and I can say this, I strongly believe I'm guided. Because I went back underground by myself.
Wow.
By myself.
What was that
Nobody else
experience
was with
like? Like, I would love to know, what was your experience like in that moment?
You know what, yeah? Do you know what, yeah? I'm a strong believer of confronting your fears. When I went back underground, I'm not gonna lie to you, I was scared. When I took the train from East Croydon Station to King's Cross, that wasn't a problem. When I went underground at King's Cross and started walking into the tunnels and past all the commuters, I could feel my heart racing. Wow. Proper racing. And then when I went back to the spot where I stood up to board the train before the accident, it kind of all came back to me, and I'm thinking, shit, wow. You know, and then I thought, no, you got to do this, man. You got to do this. Got onto the train, and when I got onto the train, yeah, my heart was beating proper fast when I got onto the train. I remember, and I could feel myself getting a little beads of sweat around me. And you know, when you're on the train, in the train, they've got doors that you can go from one carriage to another carriage.
Yes.
But it's got that window thing, isn't it?
Yes.
There's a window there, so I pulled the window down so I can get some air. And I stood there and the air got onto me. Then I got off at Russell Square, and at Russell Square, when you get off, it's got spiral staircases. There's loads of stairs to go up, or you can take the lift. Yeah. So I took the lift this time, but the lift goes up slow, and at one point it stops. And I thought I was gonna have a heart attack when it stopped. Wow. But then it continued rising up, went to the top, and I got out and I think, you know what, you've done it, Garri, well done.
So the heart attack, what you're talking about, is like a panic attack, really, right?
A panic attack, sorry, yeah, panic attack.
Yeah, but it feels like a heart attack, so I understand why you say that.
Yeah, because my heart was beating so fast, so fast.
So obviously you're suffering from an element of PTSD there, anxiety.
Anxiety.
It was having a panic, about to have a panic attack as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
Definitely.
Wow. And so, like, once again, there's going to be someone who is going to say, I can't go into that room where my family member died, or I can't walk down the street because I was attacked, or I'm not leaving my house because I was attacked, or I can't just do certain things anymore. What could you share with them that you had to say to yourself, or what you had to do in order to get you back to normality, whatever normality looks like, but normality? What did you have to do, and what could you advise or help someone with in order for them to get past that blockage?
Okay, so honestly, I may look like I've got over the worst, and I believe I have got over the worst, but I am still healing. Yeah, I'm still going through that healing process. That's the first thing. Secondly, it's about, there's not such word as can't in my book. This is me talking from my perspective. There's not such word as can't. Again, like I said to you earlier on, I'm one that likes to confront my fears. Because if you don't do that, what you're doing is you're putting a resistance within you. And again, like we said earlier on, the energy you push out into the world is the energy that's coming back to you. So if you're going out with, I can't do this and I can't do that, that resistance is going to come back at you. Whereas you come and say, you know what, I went through that, you know, and it's time for me to stay a bit more positive and go down this road because I can do it. It's life. Yeah, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. Everything is an experience, the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's how we perceive it. Yeah. And another thing is as well, we go through all different types of emotions. We never stay at one emotion at one time. We keep changing, but that's a part of life. The sad parts of life, it's about life. You understand? The good, the bad, the ugly, everything is about experience and learning from that experience.
Wow.
So my thing was, although I've gone through that, my testimony somewhere along the line can help somebody else.
Yeah.
Or will inspire somebody else.
Yeah. And that's what this show is about sharing traumas, but also coming together as a collective to discover solutions. And so the Garri of today, tell me a bit about your today, years on. And obviously it's always going to be a journey. Who are you today? What are you today?
The Garri of today is a lot wiser, a lot more mature, a lot more settled with who he is, and what he's about. And the Garri of today knows he's himself. He knows self. He knows his triggers. And he is a better version of his previous self. And that's what I aim to do every day. Always try to become a better version of my previous self.
I love that.
This Garri also is, I wouldn't say very good, but has also learned to thrive in adversity.
So I'm gonna ask you a powerful question. Well, I like to think it's a powerful question. Is the Garri today finds himself fighting self and fighting adversities, or is the Garri today more of a relaxed, happier person?
A more relaxed, happier person.
And where does that come from? Does that come from gratitude?
It comes from gratitude. It comes from gratitude. 100%. It comes from being in a situation where you've died twice, and the perception you have of life and the materialistic things washes away and goes away. The materialistic things in life don't wash with me. I'm more gearing for the richness of the heart more than anything else.
I love that.
You know, I want to know that I've left this earth and helped to inspire someone do something. Wow. You know, I've not left them a wad of money, because it ain't about money for me. It's about inspiring somebody to do something. When
I see you at this, when I see you online, I mean, the level of your fitness is phenomenal. You're training, you're exercising, It's you're more active and you're more able than people who have two legs. Majority of people who have two legs, I would definitely say.
Yeah.
Like, is that a part of dealing with that trauma, or is it where does that come from?
Well, I've always been an athlete.
Okay.
From primary school, I've been playing football, and I always liked gym and everything like that. But I know that as I get older, there is a possibility that I might have to go into my wheelchair because of my leg. Now, I was always told that you have to exercise your leg to keep that side of it toned to get muscles. Hence the reason why I exercise the way I exercise, to keep my leg toned and to help me walk properly. Because it's all about walking. I do a lot of ab workouts and leg workouts and bum workout just for my walking. Over the lockdown period, I walked quite a bit, a few miles here and a few miles there, to strengthen my legs. So that's where that's come from. I don't want to be dependent on the system, so to speak. I want to depend on myself, you know? So I try to keep as strong and as healthy as possible. And also, as well, I know that when I do it, because people have spoken to me, like you've just said, I come across more able than the able-bodied people, and people have told me that I've inspired them. So the fact that I know that I'm inspiring people gives me that more of a push. I have people that have disabilities that contact me. I remember once I put up a Facebook, Instagram post, and I got like 15,000 views, and that even shocked me. And people are coming saying to me, "Yeah, that's a great exercise. I never thought about exercise before." So the fact that I'm helping people across the world, for me, it's a beautiful. Even if I help one person, that's a beautiful thing. That lifts my self-esteem. That means I'm here for a purpose. Everybody believes that they're in this world for a purpose, and we are. But when it comes at you from social media and people inbox you and say, "That was fantastic. I really like what you've done. It really helps me." That's like, wow. You know, it's a beautiful, for me, it's a beautiful thing. Because I'm helping somebody.
And I'm going to ask you just probably one or two more questions before we wrap up. And something popped up for me. I had to write it down. I've got my sheet here, so if you see me looking away, because I'm jotting down so much notes, it's unreal. Most people who've gone through some form of traumatic experience, or they're experiencing a type of trauma, they find it very hard to face the world. Especially if it's a traumatic experience. And when I talk to them, I've spoken to thousands over the years since 2009. When I ask them how do they feel, majority say they feel ashamed.
Yeah.
They sometimes feel guilty. Did you feel ashamed when you first had to kind of go out and face the world and kind of go to your local stores or go and, you know?
Of course you do. Ashamed, uncomfortable, disillusioned with the world, all disfigured. All those things come into your head. But what it is, again, it's perception, isn't it? And your own thought about yourself. People might not see that in you, but you see that in yourself. So it's what's up here.
Powerful.
You know, I'm going out there and I've got like my trousers on and everything like that. This is what I used to do. And when I'm walking, I can see that I've got a prosthetic leg because I can see where my trousers creases in. So I can see that. Other people might not notice that, but I'm walking like someone's watching me, you know. No, man. And I'm feeling uncomfortable about it. When I should be thinking, you know what? Thank God I can walk and I can put on a pair of trousers and I can do something.
Yeah, so once again, what you've done, you've changed the focus. Where your focus goes, your energy flows. You've changed the focus, you've changed the relationship with your situation.
That word you used there is a massive word, relationship, because we have relationship with everything we do. Yeah, and that relationship I have with myself and my mindset, it's a wonderful thing because I know that I'm in control. Before, I didn't believe I was in control. You know?
Wow.
Now I know that people can say things to me, yeah, I let it in one ear and out the other ear, because I'm in control. Or I can while out on them, because that's what they want me to do, pushing my triggers. But then I can't do that no more. I know that people are like that. There's people out there, no disrespect to anybody, but there's people out there that have issues, have problems within themselves. And the way they get around it is by throwing dirt at other people.
Yeah, there's that saying, hurt people hurt people.
Right.
Or on the other hand, you've got hurt people will heal people, and that's the dividing lines. Hurt people or hurt people heal people. And so many people choose the hurt journey.
Right. And this is the thing. When I understand that side of things now, that's why I look at it and say, you know what, I'm not going to take this personal, because that person's hurting. That person's going through their own little journey. They're hurting. So I'm not going to take this personal.
Yeah.
Keep it moving.
Brilliant. So
You
I'm
know,
going to ask
just
you
let
one
it go.
final question. You've been absolutely phenomenal. I know it's going to help so much people. I really, really appreciate it. And in the spirit of helping people, if someone's just gone through a traumatic experience, regardless what it is, or they're going through trauma which is living inside of them, what advice, through your vast knowledge and experiences, what advice would you give to them? What would you say the first thing you need to do today is this? What would that be?
Okay. So I actually feel qualified to answer this question because of all the trauma that I've been through.
Yeah, you're more than qualified.
So one of my core survival tactics would be to find a reason to carry on.
Powerful. Wow.
Yeah.
I love that.
Which was that was my mum.
Wow. I've got to write that down. Absolutely phenomenal.
I'm going to give you 7, Kevin.
Yes, please.
The second one is to find your tribe.
Wow.
And when I say find your tribe, mix with positive people, as positivity breeds positivity, like I say, and negativity breeds negativity. Find people that do what they say, because words, if not followed by action, mean nothing.
I love that.
Right? Those people that I expected to help me didn't. And the ones that I didn't expect to help me, they did.
Wow.
So be in a place.
Be open to all possibilities, but don't be disappointed by what may not come your direction.
100%. Yeah? And look beyond the color of someone's skin, as your tribe can come from all different shapes and sizes. Yeah? And remember, it's not all that glitters that's gold.
It's so true. It's funny, at my lowest moments, it's been people of other colors that's come to my aid. I've got Chinese friends, I've got white friends, I've got Asian friends that reached out their hands when I was looking around and my black friends turned their backs. And so you learn over time. You're right. If you keep yourself closed and you're tunnel visioned on what you believe should come your way, it's going to end in your tears.
100%.
Yeah.
Another thing I would say as well is to talk it out. Yeah, I would really advise the guys, especially, to give yourself a permission. Give yourself permission to open up and express your feelings.
Wow.
Yeah, talk it through, whatever it is. Don't hold it in, as it's not a sign of weakness. Yeah.
Pressure burst pipes. Release it.
Right. Because I've come to understand talking is about strength, and it's good to talk. Right? Writing my story, like I said to you, helped me. That was my healing process, because I got it out there.
Yeah, I love that.
Right?
I love that. Allowing yourself to be vulnerable without feeling like you're going to be penalized for it.
Yeah. We need to be like that and stop beating each other up. The fourth thing I talk about now is gratitude. Yeah. I wrote something on my Facebook page this morning. Find something to be grateful for to start your day.
Yes, I saw it. It's powerful. Yeah.
Right. But I'm saying, so be grateful. You know what I mean? I'm grateful to be alive. I'm grateful I've got a second chance. You know? I'm grateful I can still hear, although it's slightly in one ear. I'm
Yeah,
grateful.
and that's what I wanted to ask you. So, because I've heard you say that from the start of your journey when the explosion happened, and so is it that you've got, well, as you stated, you've got hearing problems. How bad is it?
I've got an hearing aid on this for my left ear.
Right.
My right ear's okay. That came back, but my left one didn't. So
Right.
what they had to do, a lot of people don't know this as well. What they had to do was put a plastic prosthesis in a keyhole surgery in my ear for me to hear.
Wow.
Yeah. And I had to go for 2 operations for that. The first one didn't work, but the second one did. Yeah. So I find something to be grateful for. Again, I lost a leg, but I gained 4. Do you know what I mean? So these little things you got to find to be grateful for. You're alive, you got a roof over your head. Do you know, the simple little things in life. Yeah. The 5th one as well, which I think is very important as well, is connect and help others. So
Servitude.
yeah, that's very important, that is, because my thing was when I went to my house after the accident, I put challenges out for myself, and one of my challenges was to wash my car. So I had to wash my car.
Now,
and
I've got to stop you right there, because
right.
Once again, what you're saying is such a gem. I don't want people to just kind of sweep past it. Giving yourself even the smallest task of progression is the key to getting back to a powerful place within yourself. So are you saying just giving yourself a simple task was a major part of your progression for healing, but also for happiness as well?
It was a major step, because again, we was talking about feeling disfigured and feeling ashamed and everything like that. So I'd come at my house, wash my car. That was my first step. So I'm gradually getting further and further out of my house. And while I'm washing my car, I'm meeting people and talking to people, and people are seeing me. So that uncomfortability starts to disappear because I'm around people anyway. And that's subconsciously, I'm washing my car, not really paying attention to anyone else, but subconsciously I'm feeling more comfortable with myself. That there was a old couple that used to park the car in front of me and sometimes behind me, and they'd walk past me and say, "Oh mate, you've missed a bit." So we'd have this banter going on off and forth, yeah. So then he goes, "You should wash my car one day." I was like, "Yeah, right." But one day I felt strong enough to wash their car, Kev. So I went out there, I washed my car first, then I washed their car after.
I love it.
And where I live is near a tram stop. So I could see when they're coming off the tram. So I got into my house now, stayed in the front room now, and waiting for the tram to come. So the trams come now. When the trams come, they got out the car, and I can see him walking around his car like, "Whoa, is this my car?" All touching it, you know, bruv. The smile that was in my face that day, yeah, that alone made my day.
Wow.
It cost nothing.
Wow. Powerful.
Self-worth.
Powerful.
I can help others. I can help the community that built me up.
And I've got to say this once again, it's reoccurring, it's popping up over and over again. When you was on the train, you was in a place of servitude.
Yeah.
When you was in the hospital, you was in a place of servitude. The message that you sent out to the world, when you said, "Listen, you're not blaming anyone. It's not Muslims overall." That was a place of serving people's relationship with Islam and how they may perceive what Islam is about. You, for most, you kind of settled that thought process. And then once again, when you got home, you're in a place of servitude. It's just popping up over and over again that your world has been, and I guess it's your love language, that your love language is about servitude.
Yeah.
And it's been a major part of your healing process is servitude and your happiness as well. Because every time you've mentioned serving people, a smile has popped up on your face, even at the most tragic times. But a smile keeps on popping up on your face every time you mention servitude. Servitude for me is the key to happiness, the key to success, the key to wealth, and the key to growth and maturity.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, Definitely.
Wow.
So, and I got a next one. Fake it until you make it. Now, the reason why I say that is, once I was washing my car again, I felt myself on the pavement, falling off the pavement with my prosthetic leg. But I managed to switch it into a dance move.
I like that. Wow. Yeah.
So I faked it, innit, till I make it.
Yeah.
It's because if I'd have fallen, it'd be, why me, man? Oh, my leg, blah, blah, blah. But I switched it up.
Wow.
You know?
Wow. I love it.
And the last one, and I think this is important as well, is forgiveness. Yeah.
Wow. Forgiveness is powerful.
Yeah, because like I said at the beginning, I forgave the bombers straight away. And that's in a ripple effect around the world. And something you said earlier on about servitude and people listening. I'm going to go back to forgiveness in a minute. And I remember I got a letter from a woman, and she was saying to me, Garri, I was listening to you on the news, and it's only what you said to me that's allowed me to go back underground and take the train again. I was like, what? So I'm doing things subconsciously, I don't realize I'm doing them. Right, so back to forgiveness now. I forgave the bombers. This is a very good one, actually. I forgave the bombers. So again, I'm freeing myself. I'm not carrying no hatred. You know, I've just got to keep it moving. That was my thing, because if I start hating them, silly things are going to happen to me. But when I say forgiveness, Kevin, and when we talk about forgiveness, everybody always thinks about forgiving other people.
Yeah, it's to release yourself.
That's what automatically comes to mind.
Yeah.
What about forgiving yourself? Yeah. I forgive myself, for waking up early hours of the morning all the time to get to work early. I forgive myself for that. I forgive myself, for not walking to work on that hot summer morning. So I'm saying to you, you have to forgive yourself to be able to move forward. So what I would say to some people is to look within inside yourself and see if there's anything within you that you need to forgive yourself for, to be able to enable yourself to move forward.
I love the fact that you just said, take time out, well, I'm not quoting you directly, but take time out to look into yourself, to find things to forgive.
Yeah.
That is so powerful. It's unreal. Wow.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
You got to. And within that as well, I would say as well, find time for yourself. You know, you make your chores, obviously, of what you're going to do each day, but in between the chores, put in between the chores things that you definitely want to do. And if you don't do them, don't be hard on yourself.
Yeah, I love that.
Relax, take it easy, and just keep it moving.
I love that.
We are our biggest, we are our best enemies and our own best friends. Worst enemies are our own best friends.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Garri, thank you very much. What you've just shared with us is not only life-changing, but it's mind-blowing as well. It's just absolutely like, wow. You just can't make this up, man. It's like, it's the worst case scenario. It's a nightmare. But as I said, you turn it into an inspirational story and dream that can help people to navigate from an electron zone to a proton zone. I just think it's absolutely phenomenal. So I want to say thank you very much. Once again, the name of your book, please.
Surviving 7/7 London Bombing and Beyond.
And we can get it from your website.
And you can get it from our website, which is www.onefoot.in.
Brilliant. And to find you on social media.
And you can find me on social media at Garri, spelled Garri, Holness, HOLNESS, on Facebook. Or you can find me on Instagram, which is Garri, spelled GARRI_NESS_369.
Brilliant. Garri, you've been amazing. Thank you for joining me on Kevin Bennett's Trauma, the show that shares journeys of mental, emotional, and at times physical trauma and traumatic events. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. And once again, we've definitely got to do this again, because I know you've got
because there's so much to talk about.
We've got the sequel as well to talk about, the second part of your journey, your life also. But I want to say thank you very much, sir. You've been absolutely phenomenal. I appreciate you. You've been great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, man. Have a fantastic evening. Take care.